Like, no kidding. I am not even really sure where to start. Hey, everybody, my name is Old School Nerd, and this is the best band on my channel in 2022. Now, it's not going to be an easy decision. I'm going to do my top 5 choices. And just to let everyone know, you see all of these right here? They're not in the top 5. I know. Like every good top list of anything, you have to have honorable mentions. And of course, on my channel, I have such an amazing community giving me ideas, bands, albums, songs, videos for me to check out throughout the year from all over the world. It's really hard to narrow it down to 5, but I think I did a pretty good job. Now, before we get to the top 5, let me explain to you how I came to my decision and what's up with these. Okay, first off, it's a combination of analytics and personal gut experiences. For instance, it's not just about how many views a video that I react to gets. It doesn't have nothing to do with how big a band is. It has a lot to do with, well, I took views that you did of my reactions, the length of the views, the amount of comments per video, and the impressions. How many of you shared it? How many of you liked it? How many of you did the most comments? One band exceeded everyone by a large amount, and the results are actually very shocking. But before I get into the top 5 and explain to you why each one is there, let me go through all of these amazing people and bands that changed our lives for the better in 2022 and a little bit about each one. Let's start all the way over here closest to me with Redhanded Denial. This band from Toronto, Canada is led by Lauren Babick, and they're an amazing ragtag group of nerds, a 4-piece that has a sound that sounds more like they have 6. Progressive, dynamic metalcore vibes, jazzy, fluid, bluesy feels, and a harsh vocalist that also does melodic power that is almost unmatched on YouTube. Yep. That's Redhanded Denial. Now, here's the thing. Although they didn't make my top 5 list, I can almost guarantee you'll see them tomorrow for the top 5 albums of 2022. That's how good they are. Let's move on. Just below them on this chart, Spires. Now, although Spires didn't put out a seminal album per se this year or have any huge movement hits on their repertoire, they did something that caught a lot of people's attention. They opened for Dragon Force. Yeah. When Dragon Force toured North America, they opened the show along with Visions of Atlantis, and replacing Battle Beast, Firewind stepped in. Battle Beast couldn't make the tour, which by the way, if we think about it, could you imagine 7 Spires, Visions of Atlantis, then Battle Beast? That would be 3 bands with powerful female vocalists and then Dragon Force. What a show that would have been. But Firewind stepped in and did an amazing job. But the reason why 7 Spires is up on this list is because all the videos that we reacted to had one of the highest comment counts of any artist this year. There was something about 7 Spires' ability to engage with master musicianship. Yes, every member of this band accomplished musician on a much higher level than you would expect. But now if you know this band, you know it. It's not just a pretty set of hair on Peter's head, the bass player, nor his mastery when he's just pulling crazy licks in any number of their songs. It's their engagement. And when I tell you, more people were blown away by 7 Spires on the Dragon Force tour than people realized. In fact, they stole the show almost every night, setting a tone that made Visions of Atlantis and Firewind give it their all just to keep up. Now, fortunately for Dragon Force, they're always ready for a challenge, and it showed. 7 Spires set a tone that made that tour better. And everyone that went to the tour of Dragon Force this year agrees with me. All right, next up, we're going to slide over to the bottom. Ad Infinitum. Melissa Bonney and the boys from Europe released an album this year of storytelling mastery. The visions in their videos set people just completely into an imaginary torrent of ideas and wistful themes with ethereal vocals and some pretty interesting melodic symphonic metal. It was a tour de force. They are there because every time I did a reaction to one of their videos, everyone said, I had no idea about this band, but I want to buy the album. Guess what, everyone? They've released the second part of a 3-part series of albums. And Melissa Bonney has something special coming up in in May of this year with her friend Hans Plotz that none of you are ready for. And when it shows up, they might just change the game. Now, next up in the middle, that big red icon, that's Halocene. Now, Halocene didn't necessarily release an album this year, but they did something that really only Bloodywood was able to do. Bloodywood, as we know, is the largest independent band in the world. They've taken the world by storm, playing to upwards of 100,000 people at different musical festivals, and they did a North American tour where they headlined. And we saw them in Dallas, and they blew us away. But Halocene did it too. They did an HCU tour, joined with Lauren Babick, Violet Orlandi on the first leg, David Michael Frank on the second leg, always opened by the amazing Just Joe Syracuse, an amazing vocalist who can literally take a piano and play any song you tell him better than the original. Sorry, but it's true. In their touring, they were able to bring their music to a vast number of people that had no idea what they were going to be bringing to the table. Another thing that Halocene did was something that most independent bands from the United States would never dare do. They did a European tour. Anchored by the strength of their community on twitch.tv/Halocene, they were able to embark on a European tour that they didn't expect how amazing the crowds would be, and they showed up. What made Halocene unique this year was that they're known to be an amazing cover band, where they can take any classic song, pop, jazz, R&B, hip-hop, and rock, and turn it into a metal arrangement with blasting drums, amazing arrangement, and of course, Addie's awesome voice. But that's not what made them special this year. What made them special is their venture into originals. Their originals turned heads and made everyone wonder, is there going to be a Halocene album? I hope so, because their original works are now almost catching up with some of their amazing covers. And just a few days ago, Lauren Babick and Halocene celebrated the fact that one of their originals this year is one of the most successful videos to date for a band that's known for amazing covers, but their community wants them to venture out and become who they are. 2023, there's no telling what Halocene will achieve. They work that hard. Next up, Feuerschwanz. Now, you're going to hear a little bit more about Feuerschwanz in a couple of days because they have an album coming out on Friday, December 30th. Now, Feuerschwanz released an album in 2021. I know that doesn't have anything to do with 2022, but all the songs and videos from that album were this year. Memento Mori was a seminal piece of folk metal art. Why? Because they showed that folk metal can do anything that all the other genres of metal can do, and then some. Creative stylings of all the members, from Ben, from D'Artagnan, and you had Hans Plotz, and you have Hauptmann, Joanna, and of course, that rhythm section is outstanding. And of course, I don't want to talk about those two feisty fire performers. One of them happens to be an outstanding harpist in her own right, who has her own project we'll be talking about very soon. Now, here's the thing. Feuerschwanz with Memento Mori set the stage for what's going to happen here in just a couple of days. Their new album comes out on Friday, December 30th. It's a cover album. While bands like Halocene find their stance in originals, Feuerschwanz is taking it back and recreating classic covers. And what started to turn people's heads was Feuerschwanz is known for their live performances. It's not a show. It's not a concert. It's a spectacle. Fire, lights, smoke, storytelling, amazing musicianship, costuming, and everything in between. Feuerschwanz set the stage throughout Europe. Now, they haven't touched American shores yet, but when they do, I'm going to be there. Now, with this new album here in just a few days, I'm putting you on notice. These covers are not like any other covers you've heard. They're taking songs like Gimme, Gimme, Gimme from ABBA and injecting them with folk instruments. Now, why is this different? Songs like Gimme 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 from ABBA were created in the synth age of the 70s, where everything was on keyboards and synths that didn't sound natural at all. Can you imagine that classic Gimme 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 keyboard hook done with a bagpipe? Or a violin? A flute? Who knows? But see, that's the beauty of Swans. So this cover album will definitely turn heads. That's why they're an honorable mention. Now, let's go right above them. Liliac. Yeah, the Bat Band. You know, the kids from Romania. The Vampire Family. You know, the ones that sing all those metal covers from bands from the 70s and 80s? Yeah, and the reason why they're in this list is because the Liliac faithful are strong in the force. Every reaction I do, they are there. Taking notes, reminding me who they are, reminding me who this band is. And they do a good job every time. But that's not why they're on the list. That would be enough to put them right up here in this group of honorable mentions. But what's coming up next in the following year is going to turn heads. They toured this year on this Moonlight tour. And right at the start of the year of 2022, they shed that vampire goth look, the look of them just being young kids from a Romanian family, and took on identities as young adults, being flashy and new and modern. And it turned heads. Now, they also started to inject new songs, which did not sound like any of the metal covers from before. And the reason why they're on this list is they had Aiden Fisher join them on their last few performances of the year. And they did an amazing festival stop in India. So they're starting to get reach globally. When I saw them live with Aiden Fisher here in Louisiana, Aiden Fisher added a component to their band that now Papa Liliac's looking, how far can we go with this? It's created a sense of creativity in this band that I've heard some of the songs that are coming up at the beginning of this coming year, and I can tell all the Liliac fans, it's nothing like you've ever heard from this band in the best way possible. If I'm a person that loves creativity, especially in the European metal genres, Liliac is ready to play the game. Although I can promise all of Liliac's fans, don't worry, they'll still play all the amazing metal classics that make them who they are and make you love them so much. But you have to understand these young kids are now becoming adults and they've got their own song to sing, and it's pretty damn good. Last on this little cover list before we get to our top 5, the boys from Sheffield, Malevolence. We just saw them open up for Ginger this year, and the reason why they're on my list is every reaction I did really good views, but amazing shares. People would see this band for the first time, look at these songs and share it with other people. Like, did you hear this? Did you hear what they did? Did you see that? I did an interview with Alex, the lead singer of the band earlier this year. We gave away some albums. Alex is seeing something coming up in that UK scene. And they opened up for Architects this year. And by opening up with Ginger, they set an excitement tone during that Ginger tour. And they stayed at the end of every show, shook every hand, took every picture, signed every piece of merch. They were the last people to leave the venue every night, except for the people that worked there to clean up. That's what sets them apart. And even though they're not in the top 5 of this list for best band of 2022, Come Back Tomorrow. Their album, Malicious Intent, one of the best albums by not just me, serious metal publications consider their album one of the best metal albums of the year. Well, these are just the thought processes of what is possible. So we're going to move them out of the way and we're going to get to number 1. We're going to get to number 5. Are you ready? Okay, let me just slide all these lovely people out of the way. Whew. Here we go. You ready? Let me set it up. Okay. Number 4. Okay, I won't do that again. Because you want to know why? It's because it's number 5. Coming in at number 5, Lorna Shore. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to setting the world ablaze, literally, Lorna Shore has done that in 2022. Now, for me, Lorna Shore's metal is to the limit of what I like in my metal because they do such a heavy sound. The vocals of Will Ramos can sometimes reach almost animalistic, sometimes so much energy and so much force. For me, as a person who loves melodic vocals, it's almost too much. And I said almost because I love this album. The Pain Remains, their release this year, turned so many heads, caused such a fervor that any time Lorna Shore released a video this year, reactors were clamoring to get it out first, with thousands and thousands of views for every video they released, even for small reaction channels. Tiny reaction channels were getting thousands of views because Lorna Shore's impact with these videos this year caused that much of a wave. Now, the videos for The Pain Remains, all three of that triple set, that trilogy, the story of a love loss, a wife dying, and the husband's torment all the way to the end, set such a level that was so high, that bar was set so high by them, that most mid-major bands are now thinking, we got to step our game up. Because storytelling on a level, when you play to the speed and complexity and musicianship of Lorna Shore, at the same time, realize that you're listening to the rhythm section and the arrangement section of a power ballad at the same time, it almost is too much for the senses. Also, their tour this year sold out almost every location it even attempted to set down. That's how much Lorna Shore's impact was this year. They had probably the biggest year of their career. That's number 5. Number 4, well, let's get into this. Global time, baby. Bloodywood. How do you not deny that Bloodywood had one of the biggest years of their existence and for any independent band in the world? Their debut album debuted at the beginning of 2022. All the amazing songs that we've all grown to love, including some new ones, were on this album. Reaching chart-topping numbers for an independent band kind of made people go, what's going on? Now, the problem and the good and the bad part of Bloodywood was we just started to realize the greatness of what these guys could achieve right at the beginning of COVID. So for 2 years, we didn't see them. We knew the amazing songs. We heard the stories of what they did at Wacken in 2019 and how crowds they thought would just be a small second stage crowd turned into 15,000 people losing their minds. It continued this year. Don't believe me? Go on Twitter and look at Roll Kerr's Twitter page, all of his posts from different festivals. Just that little clip of Jaunt in front of the crowd at Summer Breeze with almost 100,000 people jumping up and down to Godard, causing a dust to rise up from the crowd, is something that sets up. These guys also toured North America. We saw them in Dallas. These guys, there's such an energy in a Bloodywood show that is unmatched by almost any band I've ever seen. Now, there have been better shows production-wise, but for raw energy, it felt almost like a celebration every song. Come on. When your dull drummer jumps into the crowd, stands in the middle, and jumps up and down with his dole in the air while the crowd leaps up and down to Ari Ari, yeah, there's an energy there. Also, Bloodywood toured in the United States with no days off. None. And even with a massively strict travel schedule, long distance runs, they still stayed late into the hours every night after a show to make sure that every one of those Bloodywood fans got a hug, a handshake, a knuckle bump, signed merch, pictures, whatever they needed. Why? Bloodywood believes in their fans because all their fans believe in Bloodywood. And that's why they're number 4. Now, come on, think about it. If Bloodywood's number 4, who's number 3? That's pretty much a given. Sabaton. Now, Sabaton got a little bit of a rub because not only did they have an amazing album they debuted this year, amazing videos, but they also did a mega tour in both Europe and the US. But another reason why Sabaton is number 3 on this list is because one of their members, Tommy Johansson's channel, I consider him to be part of the band overall. And his solo channel, which does amazing covers of every type, is going to reach 100K within a year. That's insane. But he's doing it because he's really talented. Sabaton's album, The Great War, and then they did an EP at the end of the year about the weapons of the Great War. Every concert was a tour de force. The crowds loved seeing them again after COVID. And so much so that they had to rearrange other band schedules this fall and spring because more concerts for Sabaton are going to be happening on cruise ships and all across Europe. It's a never-ending machine. Sabaton became literally bigger than just the 5 guys that they are. They are so wanted everywhere that those of us in the United States are waiting for them to come back. Their tour was something that American fans this year have been waiting for many, many years. Until now, Sabaton would open up for big bands like Judas Priest and so on. But as the opening band, that experience of Sabaton that we see on videos that all the European shows get to see with the tanks and the sandbags and the barbed wire and the metal gun mic stands and all the theatrics. Normally for all of us US fans, we have to only see those videos on DVDs and YouTube videos. But because Sabaton was able to secure a deal that allowed them to tour as the headliner with Epica opening for them, they brought the entire magic of a Sabaton show to US shores. Of course, every Sabaton video is an event on my channel with so many comments, likes, subscribes, shares, views. Not only that, but Sabaton fans have a tendency to watch the entire reaction. Upwards of 15 minutes on average. That's insane. My own kids don't watch me for more than 10 minutes at a time if I make them. And you guys stayed through all my reactions for up to 15 minutes. That's why Sabaton is literally number 3 on this list. I know what you're thinking. Who are number 1 and number 2? Some of you already know what one of the two of them is because every time I do a reaction to this band, it's a celebration. It's a hype fest. In fact, it's kind of a hypa fest. Electric Cowboy is our number 2 band of 2022. With the release of Techno, that was a highly anticipated album. So highly anticipated that people lost their mind when it came out. I mean, and I'm not the only person. We have a group of reactors that has a small community on Discord. People like Take the Tech, Charismatic Voice, and so on. And I'm there too. I don't know why. They let me in. I guess they felt sorry for me. But here's the thing. All of us will make reactions to Electric Cowboy and then laugh our asses off joking to each other about how crazy the videos were. And they are. But my favorite part about Electric Cowboy is when I would watch the European live concert videos and realize that this band is not just funny, catchy, dorky, over-the-top videos. Their live shows are amazing. I mean, we're talking like costume changes like it's the Academy Awards. Wigs, no wigs, bowl cuts, power metal, coming out like we're normal. Well, what's normal for us? We don't know. The only downside to Electric Cowboy this year was due to health reasons they had to cancel the US tour. Not only was that bad for Electric Cowboy, but for Conquer and Divide, a young band of UK, Canadian, and girls from the US who do amazing music and did the collaborative video with them this year that turned heads and said, "Ooh, who's this band of young ladies? We must follow them." And people did. We saw a surge in their popularity as well because of Electric Cowboy. That's how much stuff is going on around this band. Again, every time I would do a reaction, you guys would flood to it, like, subscribe, we would joke about it, we'd make fun of it. You'd make fun of the fact that I don't speak German and then get all over me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's not my fault. I'm French. Sorry. Well, Electric Cowboy is number 2. And boys, we're still waiting for you to come back to the United States. We're ready. You will buy the tickets right now. No, seriously, let's go. They're number 2. Who's number 1? All right. Before I release the number 1 band of the year, and no, it's not Metallica. Shut the fuck up. Let me ask you to do something for me. If you don't mind, please. When I announce this last band, some of you are going to have a different top 5, obviously. These are just the top 5 based upon the analytics of what all of you did to the reactions that I did this year. Views, and so forth. Also, my experiences with those bands, their videos, their music, and live concert appearances. Now, this band made it to number 1, and I didn't see them this year. I know. Okay. In the comments below, do me a favor. Rather than constantly tell me how wrong I am, or how stupid I am that I didn't put this band or that band, or how come Taylor Swift isn't number 1? What I need you to do is I'd rather you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put your top 5. I want to know what your top 5 is. And if I see enough of you point out a band that I missed, then I need to do my homework, don't I? Instead of calling me stupid, believe me, I have enough people doing that already. Help me. My entire channel, every reaction I've ever done is based upon your recommendations. If a band that you think should have been in my top 5 didn't make the list, help me. Go in the comments, put your top 5, and I'll see what I've been missing. Deal? Deal. Here we go. Number 1. Let me get comfortable in this chair. Because anytime this band put out a video or put out a song this year, everyone had to brace themselves. Rammstein. Number 1 band of 2022. Why? Come on. That album, every song on it was not only a massive, beautifully done song, but told stories that made people look within themselves, look around themselves, look at the world in general. From songs like Zeist and Adieu, which gave serious meanings of life and our time that we have here on this earth, to something as hilarious as Dick Titten, which, come on, that was one of my favorite video reactions I've ever done. And if you haven't figured out yet, yes, I knew what it was about. It was all a joke. Okay. Why is Rammstein number 1? Every Rammstein video that I did this year, none of them were monetized. I made $0 on Rammstein reactions. And I'm okay with it. Why? Because every one of them was a pleasure to do, both visually, music-wise, and, come on, nobody tells a story like Rammstein. Nobody. There's another reason why they're the number 1 band this year. Other than Metallica, name a band that puts on a bigger show in a stadium. Actually, their show's bigger than Metallica's show in a stadium. And I'm not joking. The average Metallica show on their double date tour they have scheduled for this year coming and in 2024, 33 trucks. Rammstein, depending upon whether it was Europe or the United States, upwards between 50 and 75 tractor trailers just to carry the gear, equipment, explosive, pyrotechnics, gas, costuming, sound equipment, and staging, lighting, and everything else they did in every stadium they did. It was an army. It was a little like the movie 300 when Xerxes' army would come, and it just seemed like when the army would approach, the ground would shake. Yeah, that's them setting up for a Rammstein date, literally. The videos coming out of these shows and people going to this concert tour around the world this year, where people said it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And it was. I wish I would have made the show in San Antonio. It was the closest one to me. I did not make the show. And I will be kicking myself in the butt ever since. And that's okay. It's all right. Okay. So yeah, on my channel, Rammstein beat out everyone. Now, how close was the gap between the top 5? Actually, it was really close. The only reason why Rammstein is number 1 is because no one can deny the level of concert success they had this year. Literally, it made headline news around the world in every city they went to. You got to tip your hat to the guys who've been around since XXX. Yes, we've forgiven him for that, but it was still the best part of that entire movie. You can actually watch the intro of XXX before Vin Diesel even shows up with that stupid neck tattoo, and it's still one of the best parts of the movie is that intro in that cathedral concert venue when they're doing Firefly. It was awesome. So, that's my top 5. Those are the best bands of 2022. Now, what comes up next year? I have no idea. But I do know there's a lot of amazing albums coming from a lot of amazing bands. Will your favorite band make this top list? The only way that happens is if you get with me and say, hey, react to my favorite band. And who knows? maybe that band might have such an amazing impact on my channel, they'll be in the top 5. Good luck. That was a pretty amazing list. Lorna Shore, Bloodywood, Sabaton, Electric Cowboy, Rammstein. It's a great time to be a metal fan. It really is. Now, tomorrow, we're going to do the best albums of the year. Now, don't get me wrong. There's actually an independent album on my top 5 list tomorrow. So do not miss this. Yeah, don't have a label. Top 5. Seriously. I know you don't believe me, but it's okay. I love you anyway. All right, everybody. Like I tell you, as we end 2022, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right there. Big thank you to all my Patreons out there. We appreciate everything you do. If you want more content like this video, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.